Hi, friends. Welcome back to Live at the Roxy. A very special show today because I am introducing you to somebody that you probably already know because you've seen her work, but I don't know that you have seen her, even though she is a fantastic actress as well. It is Ritza Bloom, my dear friend in the house. Woo-woo! Oh, okay. We make a big deal over how people say hello and like what the handshake is or the wave or whatever.
Yeah.
This has not been done in a minute. I mean,
you know it.
I like that you kind of threw yourself a little party. It was like I said your name and you were like, "Oh, nobody's around." Oh, okay.
I'm my own studio audience, and you know what? I am fully embracing the idea of Black joy these days and celebrating oneself. So I am going to be bold and beautiful and be like, "Yes, ma'am, I have arrived, Roxy. Yes."
I love everything you just said, and we're going to get even more into that today. But you guys know I was telling you all day yesterday about Ritza. They're very curious about the one question that kept coming up was High School Musical, the series, how that title came to be. There was a lot of questions about that, but also a lot of love for the show and for you in general. So I'm excited today to break it all down. As you guys know, if you have questions, put them in the chat, put them in the super chat, put them in the Streamlabs and the Patreon. Basically, you have no excuse not to get to us because you have all the ways that you can. But just a general check-in to start, Ritza, because this fucking time, I guess that's the only way to describe this fucking time. What's a day in the life for a Ritza with a baby and a mission and a job and all the things? What's a day?
Thanks, girl. That's such a good question. And, I feel like the typical day in the life for any of us is so different than like a COVID 2019, riots in the streets day in the life.
I hope it's different. If your life looks the same right now that your life looked this time last year.
You're not trying. We're going to pray for you if that's the case.
I mean, who are you? Show yourself.
What are you? And if anything, maybe write a book and give me some tips because I don't. It's cool. And so I am a mom, as Roxy mentioned. I have a beautiful, almost 11-month-old boy named Elijah, and he's honestly the best. And
the most beautiful, like unbelievably perfect baby on the planet. Oh my God.
He's like,
I miss him.
He's a little, I know he misses you too, Auntie Roxy. And for your viewers, he's biracial. So he's got like some Jewish and Italian and Irish and Haitian for me. And so he just looks like hopefully the future.
Yeah.
And,
that's a perfect description. He looks like the future.
Hopefully he looks like the future. And hopefully this world will be better for him. These days, especially since we're COVID and quarantine, I feel like a day in the life for me is, I wake up, I tend to the kid, whatever his needs are. Usually there's some sort of like cuddling in bed that's going on, some crying, some breastfeeding, all the fun stuff above. And then after I've taken care of him, I'm like on my emails, I'm working on scripts, I'm working on stories. And one thing that I've appreciated, I think, about being a writer and being a creative person, Roxy, you write and are creative yourself, is that I feel like all these things in life, whether it's riots in the street, whether it's COVID, whether it's being a mother, whatever it is, or being a woman, being a Black person, all of these things kind of find their way into stories and stuff. And it allows me to be regenerative and to put my anger somewhere productive. So like,
do you feel like you have a different, because obviously it's always different what you're writing about, but right now, especially during this time, do you feel like your voice is a little different, your tone is a little different, your story subject matter is a little different?
Oh, 100%. And I think that, again, like yourself, people who are creative are usually empaths in some way to the world around them, right? Like you tell stories because you observe stories and you are living in your life. And It's funny. So one of my latest pilots that I wrote that I'm like making a pitch deck for, and I won't tell the title, but I will say that Roxy, the name of the main character is Roxy because I just named her after you because I love her so much, and she is.
I am available, by the way. I will call my non-agent and ask if I can. Yep. Okay. I'm there. Yes.
Don't give your 10% to nobody, honey. I got you direct, baby.
I know somebody. Okay.
I know somebody. And basically, so I will tell the title. The title's called "I Think I Effed a Serial Killer," and it's about this woman who may or may not have effed a serial killer, obviously. And yesterday, as I was working on the pitch decks for it, it struck me in thinking about the story, which at the time that I wrote it a month ago felt like, oh, farcical, funny thing. In diving into the story and thinking about where it would go, I realized for that script, and honestly for all the scripts that I'm working on, especially currently, everything is so infused by your life and where it is. So for her, for example, for that character, it's the farce on the outside is, oh my goodness, is the guy I'm dating killing people? But on the inside is, I don't want to grow up, and I'm so afraid of growing up right now. And I don't know what being an adult means or making responsible decisions means and how to balance that in one's life. And I realized, I was like, oh my God, that's my life right now. Like, I'm 29.
You feel that way?
Oh, Roxy.
Wait. That is, I know that people say this, but like you have your shit together so clearly. And like, so, I mean, you're married to an amazing partner. I haven't even said this, but Ritza's husband, David, is like been one of my best friends for years and years now from the East Coast. It's fine. He followed me out here. I had to keep the friendship alive.
I got custody of you in the marriage. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm yours now. Yeah. But beautiful baby, perfect husband, unreal career. Like your career since I've known you, your career has just like skyrocketed. Beautiful home. I mean, like the life you have created for yourself. And I don't say the life you have because I really do believe we create our lives, and those are active choices that you made to have that life. But the life that you created for yourself, like you don't think you've got it together?
Roxy, you're so sweet. And beautiful home, 2-bedroom condo, y'all. Don't even worry. It's not even like that, honey. I'm not there. Not there, but we're trying.
Anybody who's not renting in LA is a boss.
It's a two. Tangent. Tell me why we were watching HGTV last night and you see people with like 6-bedroom mansions that are maybe 300,000 and stuff. And I was just looking at it like, I need to turn this channel off because I'm about to move. I'm about to move to Montana and I will live in a red state and have like a freaking palace. But
this is something they do not say to you when you move to LA. Be prepared to buy a home at 50.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And
my savings rate right now, I will own a 2-bedroom home at 50. And I can't wait for it. Like, bring on 50, baby. That's when I get my house.
That's why we're out here hustling, because I want to get like a commune. I want a neighborhood that all of us can just like live on and stuff. Like, how cool would that be?
Unreal.
I'm believing. But to answer your question, I'm sorry, I tangent.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I think I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels this way. And I am so thankful and so proud of David, my amazing husband, and I feel super blessed to be where I am in my career, even though there's so much more that I want to do and accomplish and achieve. But I feel like, this, that every good thing in life also is like a lot of hard work, like a healthy marriage, especially in COVID, like that ain't easy, like we got to give each other grace and forgiveness and all this stuff and figure out a new way of being. Like being a mom obviously is very hard. Writing is difficult. You're out here hustling 7 days a week. And I'm sure, like, I look at your Instagram all the time, obviously, because you're gorgeous and my friend. And I'm like, oh my God, Roxy's so beautiful. And look at her life. She's that and all that. But from the inside looking at me out, you're like, oh my God, I'm hustling. I'm like doing everything I can every minute and stuff. So if anything, you and I need a vacay.
That's true. That's true. Where are we going and when?
Hello, right?
I'm there. Yep.
So Napa. But
yes.
I really want to go.
Wine. Give me wine.
I will be that person that cuts a hole in my face mask and puts a straw in a wine glass and just sits there. And I will be that person that you see on MSNBC. Like, look at this.
Wait.
Woman.
I am so with you because everybody right now is like, did you know the gym opens up on Friday? And I'm like, you think that's where I'm going to go and risk this to the gym?
Yes, you guys must be
Give
boring.
me wine with my friends.
I just want to be
Please.
outdoors with, that's the kind of stuff I miss. I'm an extrovert. And so, I'm really thankful that I've been quarantined with humans, my husband and Elijah, but I can't wait to just have a brunch that's made for me and wine and a mimosa. I'm tired of cooking my own brunch, Roxy. It's sad.
I know. What is the most challenging part right now about being married in quarantine?
I think divvying up time and space, because again, our place is not that big. So David, he's a teacher, and so he was teaching a lot of his classes from Zoom, and it's just generally busy. And trying to find a time to write. Our writer's room for HSM ended about a month and a half ago. So I've had time in between that staffing, whatever my next thing is, and for
is that your cool way of phrasing High School Musical? HSM, our writer's room for HSM. It's like, oh my god, girl!
High School Musical, the musical, the series. Yes, excuse me.
Still must know more. Must know more.
I lose breath every time. But yeah, I mean, I feel like carving out time is the hardest part, whether it's time separately for ourselves to get some work done, or time with Elijah and the baby, or time away from him so I can send some emails. Sometimes it's like two ships passing, and some days we will have like real conversations about like, how are you doing? I feel like I haven't seen you in, 5 days. And just because you've been here does not mean that we've been here. And like, we'll have to put effort into making sure that we're remembering like, oh wait, we're not just functioning partners and roommates. Like we have to prioritize like being married and being a team and all that stuff too. So like, thankfully he's so game. I'm like, David, we need to talk. I just want to know how you're doing. And he will stop and he'll be like, yes, let's talk about it. So I don't get any pushback, which is awesome.
He's the cutest. Oh my God, he's the sweetest person on the planet. Harder, I don't know that there's an answer for this, but harder to be a mom or a partner during this time?
Ooh. Oh. I mean, both have highs and challenges, of course. I would say maybe a mom, only in that David doesn't cry all the time. Like he knows English and I can reason with him if I need
communicate. Yeah.
Communicate. But with the baby, it's just like, and I just have to guess. And sometimes, even if I guess everything, he's just still in a mood and I can't talk him off the ledge. Yes.
I cannot imagine. I feel like especially under one during this time, like you can't quit. Like there's no sleep. There's no like, give me a minute, honey.
Yeah. Oh, he wouldn't understand that. I have like a high appreciation for anyone who's like a stay-at-home mom, anyone who like my daycare lady, nannies, all of that stuff, because, and I don't know, this is probably bad to say out loud. As much as I love being a mother, I love my son, I was never that girl that was like, when I get married and have a baby and my Barbie's like this. I was just never that person. I honestly pictured myself as like an Oprah, where it was like, I'm going to have an empire. And if somebody's there, great. If somebody isn't there, dope. Doesn't matter because it's on, it's me.
Yeah. But, I think we're very similar in that way.
Yes. And so like, so all of this is an adjustment, like, being a full stay-at-home mom with some work that I want to do on the side is kind of different than being able to drop him off in daycare and have some me time. So I think, I would say mom, even though I love him so much and he's amazing.
And one of the other things that I'm assuming is a challenging part of this. Yesterday, we had my friend Takira on, who is pregnant right now. She is 7 months pregnant, and she has been, told by her doctor that you cannot go protest right now because if anything happens, like if you get bumped, if anything, it's just not a safe environment right now. And she's really struggling because as a mixed woman, she wants to be out there and she wants to be fighting. And I know that I had seen an Instagram photo of you at what was a family-friendly protest a few days into the protest. So talk to me about what were the conversations going into that? Did you always know that you were going to be protesting? Did you think you weren't going to be able to? Because again, with a baby, that adds a whole new layer of challenges.
Girl, no, I feel you. And it's like coming off of what we talked about, just having the dual identities, partner, wife, whatever, mother, but working, all that. And there's a part of me that's like, yes, I'm a mom and I want to be very safe, but I'm also Black. You know what I mean? Black. And I think part of that is, and I say it like that.
I do know what you mean. I do know.
You know what I mean? It's such, an inextricable part of my identity. And I tell people this all the time. It's like, obviously there's so many ways one can identify, and an increasing amount as we become more open and accepting and moving into the future, which I love. But I think something about race, which is so particular, and I tell people this all the time, is that like my mom is Black, my daddy is Black. So before I was even born, before I was even conceived, I was going to be Black. Before I was a woman, before I was a boy, before I was this, before I was that, like there was no chance that like a little Asian baby was going to pop out. Like, no. My race was determined long before anything else about me. It was determined by virtue of my parents choosing each other. And I think that even though as a mom and as a human who cares about the community and COVID, we, Dave and I have been pretty, I would say 98% safe. The 2% is when I go and get groceries with the mask and the gloves, but they haven't gone into a store. We don't bring Elijah into enclosed spaces at all. He's been with us. And we've pretty much been like sticking to the rules as best as we can without going insane. And then all this stuff happens. And like, I think, and I'm sorry if I'm getting long-winded, but I think
not at all. I asked and you're answering beautifully, by the way.
We're going for it. I think it's a combination of the quarantine and being able to sit with realities of our life. And I think when COVID all started and there were all those commercials and messages about, you look out for your neighbor and we're here in this, we're all in this together. And I think there was a swell of like, okay, this is an awful situation we're in, but maybe it's like a time that will teach us to look at our communities and maybe like connect with people differently. And so there was like a real emotional high underneath like the angst, of course, about like, maybe this is going to be better. And then bam, 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 you see all these like police killings and racist stuff. And you're like, oh, wait, even if we're all a community, I'm still 3/5 a person. You know what I mean? And like, so there was a drop of hope. And I think that emotional roller coaster was insufferable. I know I was like, I would yell at David some mornings. Like I was rage and fatigued and grief and like connecting with all my friends of color, especially my Black friends who were feeling the same thing. And you want to put that energy somewhere. And like, yes, it's going into scripts. And yes, I was donating. And yes, we were ordering in from like Black owned restaurants. And yes, we were staying on top of the news. And yes, we're checking in with our friends. And all that stuff was great. And to your friend Takira, like all that stuff matters too. I totally get that. But David and David's very, like he's really into social justice and diversity and inclusion and equity. And so we would sit at home and be like, man, we want to protest, but we can't with the baby. We can't with the baby. And I would like text friends, like, I really want to be out there. Good for you for being out there, but I can't with the baby and the COVID and all that. And everyone was super cool. But then I got this flyer sent to me, which is like a family-friendly protest in Century City for all the non-LA people. It's like a decent wide space part of town and stuff. And we were like, well, it's family friendly, so is it time? And the night before, we were both like, you know what, we don't know, but we really want to, but we don't know, but like we're gonna kick ourselves if we look back on this time and not. And then that morning, it was the last Saturday, we were like, let's just get in the car and do it. And so we dressed up, got our face masks on. We only went for about like 20 minutes. We didn't go for a long time and did a little march. We made a sign. We kept Elijah away from people. But I will say, I am so happy that we went. I am so happy that it was completely worth the risk. Something about it was incredibly cathartic, being out there and like seeing the energy from everybody else and being like, oh, this isn't just my problem as a Black person anymore. Like all of these people care and are willing to risk it and to bring their children out here to show that they care. And I am, and even just like, being there and having that memory and having the photos, like I'm excited to when Elijah's old enough to understand his plight.
He went.
Yeah, that I'm like, you were part of this moment. You were in, and it's not about going out again, because some people really truly shouldn't or cannot. But for us, it just felt like the last thing that we needed to do just to get some of this emotion out. And it was really heartening.
Was David or were you kind of the pushing factor of that one? Or was it really completely mutual?
I think I would say like maybe 60-40. But so it's still pretty close to 50-50. But he, of course, was like cautious. It's okay. Let's, I'll hold him the whole time and all that. And I'm like, we have a stroller. He was like, no, just in case something happens. I want to be able to run.
Yeah.
And there were Humvees. There were people in like the military garb. There were cops. There were cops on top of buildings and stuff. So it definitely still felt like, oh, this isn't just a normal march. But yeah, no, thankfully he was super on board. And the second we were like walking back to our car, we were both like, oh, thank God we did that.
Are you thinking of going again, or are you thinking we did it and now we can support in other ways? So glad that we did that.
Yeah, a little bit of both maybe. And I think it depends on the event, because what's great is that, so we went, I posted that photo. And a lot of my friends, and particularly some of my like Black mom friends, were like, oh my God, let me know when the next one is.
I texted you the same thing.
Let me know when the next one is. So I want to go with you.
I want to go because of my grandparents. I haven't been able to, there haven't been ones that my friends are going to where you can be 6 feet away from somebody. And so I'm doing all the other things, but I feel obviously not similar to you because I'm white, but similar to you in the sense that like, I think it would be cathartic, and I also I want to fucking show support every way that I can, and that's one way. And I know there are a million other ways, and I'm doing all those, but I want to do every way that I fucking can.
Exactly.
And so anything every time there's been a protest, I literally text my friends and I say, "Is there anywhere for me to drive up? Can I come and beep? Can I show my sign? Can I hold it out the window? Can I throw waters towards you? Like, is there anything?" And they're like, "No, it's just too jam-packed." So I'm looking for, I follow this Instagram account. I told you guys about it, but In This Together LA. Do you follow them?
I need to. In This Together LA.
Yeah, and I'll send you a picture of it so you don't have to worry about it now. But they post every night before all of the protests they know that are happening the next day. Amazing. And where they are and what time. And usually they're posting like anywhere between like 5 and 10 a day. And they're all different locations and whatever. And it kind of will give you a log line. It will give you a line about, it will be like specifically for blank, or like if it's more general, like general protest, it will, so it will kind of tell you what they're targeted. But I've been seeing that there have been some family friendly ones, but usually they are like maybe 2 hours outside of Los Angeles because of, but that might be worth it. I mean,
maybe it was a nice ride. Yeah, I totally. Yeah,
so,
I would love to go protest with you. I would love to go march with you. That would be so cool. If I was so lucky just to have a friend, send it to a writers group thread, and I was like, this is the time, David. But yeah, I need to, if I'm on top of it in that kind of sense and like following actual information, then let's plan it, girl. Let's do it. Let's match.
Let's get to some of these questions for now. Some of these comments you guys have, Larry Lisa, I ignored you for far too long. He always with the first super chat of the day. He says, guys, hit that like button. Roxley, finally going back to work at the end of June. Yeah, theaters are opening. I know. And that shit's crazy. Ritza, thoughts on the fact that movie theaters are opening? What do you think?
Okay, y'all. And again, I don't know if I said this conversation. I used to work at the ArcLight in Sherman Oaks. That was one of my first little LA hustle jobs.
I didn't even know that.
I did. It was in 2013. I was like shoveling popcorn and slanging. And here's the deal. I left to go work at another job selling T-shirts at the mall after that, because again, you got to start somewhere and hustle. And that's, I think, when I was dating David at that point. So I had not been working at ArcLight when we started dating, but I kept my badge. So I'd be like, look, David, I can get us into movies. And I would go and I'd be like, hi, I still work. So we would go. And David used to work at, I think it's called West Newton Cinema or something back in
Yeah.
And he's like, I totally support this. I used to work in movie theaters too. I don't even care. And so
wait, that is amazing.
Really good.
Do you or do you not have your badge still?
You know what? I tossed it out only because they got on to us and they were like, they upgraded the security for the free ticket.
And well, those tickets are like $25 each. So
I mean, who has time for that?
Yeah, I know.
And my job for a movie, that's stupid. But yeah. So even though I'm typically pro cinema, based on that anecdote, I'm just picturing like
that kills me. Oh
I'm just picturing like the soft, seats and stuff, and thinking like, how are they going to sanitize that? Like, it's different. If you're in like a sports arena and they're plastic, I'm assuming spray down, or the airplane kind of seats sometimes. But Maybe if you're socially distanced, like,
Maybe the leather ones,
oh yeah. And like,
right?
thankfully most theaters I feel like in LA will let you like choose your seat beforehand. So you can
Yeah.
see maybe how like full the movie theater is and then make an assessment. But
Are
ooh,
you going to be going?
to the movies?
Yeah.
I
You
don't
just
know.
looked at me like that was the craziest question. I'm assuming the answer is no.
I no, I in my mind I tried to
To the
scan
movies.
like me. No, I was thinking in my mind like what's coming out that I really need to see. I
Well, the
mean,
first thing is Tenet, right?
that's
That's
gonna
in
Tenet's the only,
July.
yeah. Tenet's the only thing that I would consider, but I don't know that I would risk it for the biscuit for Tenet. Like I think I would have a lovely time also watching that at home.
I think that I will not risk it for Tenet, but I do think I will risk it for Wonder Woman in August if that is
Mhm.
coming through. I'm super nervous about the movies.
Yeah,
I guess I'm nervous about it all, and I'm confused. I'm confused on when we see spikes and when we don't. I'm
right.
confused on, and I'll just say it. I know you guys are going to make fun of me, and I'm not usually a conspiracy theorist, but I'm confused on the legitimacy of COVID at this point. Like, not in general. Obviously, I know it exists, and you guys who watch the show every day know that I have two people in my life who passed from COVID. So I'm not questioning if COVID is real.
Right.
Obviously, I'm not. I think you have to be a moron to
You're not
say,
a
"Is this
denier.
real?" So
Yeah.
of course, I know it's real, but I am confused right now on the lack of COVID cases when there are 50,000 people
Right.
within a block from each other. That
Yeah.
seems weird.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but like the gym's opening Friday, I'm gonna wait a month
Yes.
and see what's up.
Give it a good month. That's exactly what I feel. And I think honestly, August may be a different situation than today. And I
Better or worse, we don't
better
know,
or
but
worse,
could be different.
but it could be different. Fingers crossed. And I feel like information changes so much on the day to day. And I'm gonna quote one of my favorite shows, and pardon my French, but it's Succession, and I love it. I think it's such
I
brilliant writing.
love that show so much. Oh my god.
I will I will fight someone in a parking lot over that show. I love it. I told all my friends to watch it. And it reminds me, I can't remember which character said this, but it's, I think, an episode title called The Shit Show at the Fuck Factory. That's what that feels like. COVID is a shit show and Trump is the fuck factory. And that's why we have no idea, what's going on and how dangerous, or when it's more dangerous, or what causes these waves, because all these like other states are opening up their beaches and stuff. So like
I
it's
know it's confusing.
fuck factory.
And you have to think about what the motive is. So, like Larry in here said, I think theaters are opening because they still got to pay rent. That's all well and good, but like I don't think that's a good reason to open.
Right.
You have to pay rent. Like, the reason to open should be people are now safe to come. Like,
Not like, we have all these kernels that we gotta sell.
it's like I get that, and that does suck. And
Right.
hopefully the government's doing a decent enough job with especially these independent theaters of trying to bail them out of the struggles that they're having. But
Yeah.
also like that's not a good selling point. Oh, we gotta open because we gotta pay rent. Come see a movie.
Exactly. Hello. Also, can they not innovate in a sense where it's like, can they not make some sort of like drive-in theater? Like, I mean, I know there's no like empty lots in LA, but like,
But yes.
do something like that,
Yes. There's one outside of where have I been reading? You guys tell me if you know. It's like 45 minutes away somewhere.
Okay.
Again, no idea. Maybe Anaheim, somewhere. Somewhere there's a big, massive drive-in movie theater that's got 7 screens and is like it's been open this whole time.
Aw.
But I keep looking it up because I keep wanting to go, and there's nothing to play right now.
Right, exactly.
So they're playing like shit that I'm like, what? I don't feel like driving that far to go see Trolls. Like I just don't really want to do
no
that.
one should drive more than 10 minutes to see the movie Trolls. That is a mandatory fact. Here, you heard it here first, live with
If
Robert.
Ritza says it, then it is true. I see you guys have tons more questions. We will be getting to some of these. Lewis, I do want to acknowledge this one because we haven't talked about it here on the show yet. Hey, Roxy, are all right. Have seen what JK Rowling has said about trans people, which made me mad and confused. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I did. Ritza, are you up to date on this one?
I thought I don't know if it's the most recent information, but I thought I read that she said something to the like, "What are women anymore?" Because so they were called people with periods or something like that, and
Yes, the menstruation thing.
yeah, like that.
So it's hard to know what she said this time because this is not the first, second, or third time that JK Rowling has said something like, I'm not even going to say borderline offensive, just straight up offensive.
Yeah,
She's done this in the past, and it's bizarre to
yeah,
me that like you are cool creating this entire fantasy land in which it's possible for like people to have magic and
right. Yeah,
not to hate anybody because they don't have magic parents or half of them are
right,
magic and half of them are not and
right.
what like it's your whole
Yeah,
it's your whole world. Yet, like, you can't respect transgender people? That just doesn't, like, quite translate to me. Where is your line? So,
yeah,
I do like JK's work,
of
but
course.
I don't understand her personally, I guess, and where her
Yeah.
politics actually lie.
I'm wondering totally. I have no idea where politics lie, and I'm wondering too if it's a combination of two things, which is one, and it's hard because obviously she's so successful as an
Yeah.
author and a storyteller, and so I totally admire her.
And as a woman, which like puts a different lens on this too, because I'm like, there's just not as many successful women in any field as there should
Right,
be.
and not absolutely not, and even fewer who are successful because of something they came up with just right here. You know,
Right.
obviously, I
Right.
think all women are incredibly intelligent, or at least most of us, and smart. And so the fact that something that she scribbled on a napkin is now like multi-billion-dollar, industry is amazing. It's totally amazing. And having
Right.
said that, I feel like maybe there's something that happens with celebrity and wealth where you just get siloed in, and maybe she doesn't have any gender queer or gender fluid or trans like people in her life, because I feel like
But then
proximity,
she should get some.
well, yeah, absolutely,
Get some.
proximity is so helpful, and it's not on trans people to like to walk her through everything. But if she is able to have such a limited scope and feels the need to always tweet about it, which is another thing, I think she needs to work on it and find ways to build empathy, because for whatever, she's not a normal human. Okay, she has a huge platform. She's very influential. So the context of it all is like, yeah, you may believe what you believe, but you have to understand the context of your influence and how people look up to you or follow you. And there's so many people, I'm sure, in the trans community who read Harry Potter and have found it very dear. So I can only imagine how they're feeling conflicted
Of
about
course, because you want to feel like being different is awesome. And
it.
be
Yeah,
and that's what her messaging is. So for anybody who doesn't know exactly what we're talking about, I just looked this up for her quote. I hate reading things out loud,
it's okay.
but here we go. She posted a series of messages on social media saying, and this was last weekend, saying, if sex isn't real, the lived reality of women globally is erased. I know and love trans people who, whenever you have to say that out loud, you know something's coming.
Never great. It's never great.
But
But
but erasing the concept of sex removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. The idea that women like me, woof, who've been empathetic to trans people for decades, hate trans people because they think sex is real and has lived consequences is a nonsense.
yeah,
Ugh,
I just
ugh.
I think comments like that and thought patterns like that aren't helpful. And we can dovetail this back into Black things, because like we can always dovetail, girl. I can always make it back.
Yeah. Ugh.
One of my good friends' name is Denise Hewitt, and I don't know if you guys met, but you would love each other. She's an entrepreneur and give a lot of talks. And one thing that she said,
Your was she at your was it engagement party or wherever it was that was I feel like I met a friend named Denise. Maybe I just heard you talk about her. Anyway.
yeah, maybe. I honestly, I need to put you guys in touch because she's amazing and we would have so much to talk about. But one thing she said, which she may have heard from another source, but just looking at life through like a lens of abundance instead of through a lens of scarcity. And I think that applies in so many different ways, which is like, I can't let you succeed because then I can't succeed. Like, that's a lens of scarcity. There should be the idea that there's enough success.
Good point.
You know what I mean? And I think that lens from JK is a lens of scarcity. The idea of, if we look at your problems, then my problems are denied. And that's not the way it is. Like, we have space for, absolutely, I'm a cisgender, heteronormative, hetero-presenting woman. Great.
Right.
Of course I have my issues. And again, I'm Black. So I have like issues there. But that doesn't mean that championing either of those or championing a member of the trans community, because trans lives matter too, and they're being persecuted at a terrible rate, especially Black trans people. It doesn't mean that I can't, there's not abundance in my heart to empathize or sympathize or even listen to those problems, and that doesn't take away from my plight as a cis woman or my plight as like a Black person. You know what I mean?
And saying this is actually more time consuming than just like listening and understanding.
Yeah.
So, and it like everything you just said is so true. And also, like, it doesn't cost money to listen and just be like
right,
an understanding human. And even if you don't get it, acknowledge that. How could you? Because you aren't a trans woman. So like,
it's not for you to get.
It's not for you to. So just listen and.
Yeah.
And then, like, yeah. So in here, Samir Tesfaye, who's just the freaking best, says Daniel Radcliffe's comments on JK's comments was perfect. So for anybody who didn't see that,
yeah, that's great.
He said, transgender women are women. Any statement to the contrary erases the identity and dignity of transgender people and goes against all advice given by professional healthcare associations who have far more expertise on the subject matter than either Joe or I. So yeah, that's very clear. Just so much stupidity because she's done this so many times. Like,
she doesn't have a pattern of saying her foot in her mouth, like online, which is, I don't know.
Learn. Twitter learn that butt whenever she does that butt. Oh.
But get back to that typewriter, JK. Bang out another. Don't sit here and get on Twitter, baby girl. It's not your medium. You didn't park off of Twitter, honey bun.
Woof and woof. All right, going to Patreon. Question for Ritza coming in. Chris Martinez in here says, "Hey Ritza and Roxy, hope you're both having a great day. Ritza, do you have any advice for aspiring writers and any advice for amplifying diverse voices in our writing? Thanks."
Ooh, yes.
Ooh,
yes. Amazing question, by the way. Like, oh my goodness, if anything, like, do you have any advice for me? Because you clearly know what you're doing. But yeah, I would say that this is going to sound so stupid, but ride with me on this one. I honestly think
I ride with you on anyone. I'm always with you.
Yes.
So I'll ride with you wherever. Continue.
You know what? We need to have like a show called Road Trip with Ritza and Roxy, or Roxy and Ritza, I don't care. And we basically like
Ritza and Roxy's better.
Fine. We go to different diners. We go in like really nice cars, and we just like talk about life. Like that's
I'm in.
When I'm Shonda level, we're gonna be on that show. But
soon.
Got you. My advice really is just to keep writing. And I know that sounds like a pedantic and stupid, but honestly, if you treat your craft like anybody else, like an athlete treats their craft, or like Roxy, you treat your craft, you have to just keep doing it. And then you'll inevitably kind of get better. One thing that is great about writing is that you can do it in your silo, right? Like if I'm an actor, if I'm a director, COVID's really screwing me over because I can't like gather people together. But
Who are you directing?
Right. Who are you directing? You're directing COVID? You're directing like what? But for writing, there's free programs. I used to write on Celtics, which is like the free.
Me too, forever.
I did not buy Final Draft until I got into the ABC Disney writing program. And I was like, oh, this is real. I did not even, because I was like, I'm not going to put money yet. But
can I just say that I love Celtics though? And like, I got Final Draft too, because industry wise, when you just kind of have to at some point, especially if you're sharing scripts back and forth and whatever. But
yeah, it's pain.
I am so here for when you're starting getting whatever is free, because you don't even know that you're gonna like it.
Free. Amen.
Celtics was amazing, and I had Celtics for, I'm gonna say, 6 years.
Same.
Like I loved Celtics.
On Celtics, okay. I wrote some masterpieces.
Yeah, me too.
Yes. I read Roxy's work, by the way, if anybody didn't know that. She's a really good writer. And I don't say that about just about anybody. I thoroughly enjoyed a script you sent me.
As long as I didn't make you, as long as my script didn't make you cringe, like, why'd I have to read my friend's script? Then I'm on good. I still have to send you my Hanukkah one that I am.
Please.
Oh my God.
I can't wait. I can't wait. No.
I
And like,
remember I pitched it to you and then I wrote it in 24 hours like a psychopath.
girl, you lived your life. You hustled, and you're like, let me dodge this COVID writing. But yeah,
It has a lot of work to do. Keep
no,
going.
every script does. Come on, every script does. But yeah, like I just keep writing and keep pushing yourself. And I think, you know, even though it's nice that you can do it on your own, I think writing takes a level of, and every art does, but it takes a certain level of entrepreneurialism where you're going to like push yourself, because there's so many days where like, I don't want to do this, I have a writer's block or whatever, but it's, you get through that because you get better. And try to work on your craft if you can, whether it's reading like books about it, asking friends who are in the know about what makes a good script, learn all those things. I remember as like a younger writer, and I still consider myself a baby writer, but even when I was a fetus writer, I was like, I love writing dialogue, but I hate format, because of course you write because you like dialogue, you like conversations.
Who the fuck likes format?
Nobody likes format. But now that I'm like, I don't know what, like, you know, I guess technically 3 years into my like professional writing journey, oh my God, like format is so helpful. It's so helpful to just have a hanger on which you can hang the pretty dress of your ideas, because it gives your brain a path to follow down once you internalize it. And then you, like, without even thinking, you'll be able to craft a story within days or within minutes, because you know like what the beats are that you need. So keep writing and amplifying diverse voices. My God, I need coffee.
Diversifying amplified voices would be wild too.
It's also pretty, you know, it could work. It could work. I'm not sure if this person who asked is a person of color, is a queer person, or is it a woman in any minority group. But
well,
even
Chris Martinez. So typically, who knows, but yeah.
But I would assume that you may be Latinx in some way.
Right.
I would say, you know, write, especially if you are a minority, feel free to write from your story, and whatever that is, it can be a fantastical version of your life. It could be something that's so beautifully mundane, like The Office. I think it's brilliant because it's so like relatable to everyone who's ever had a job. But once you write,
which is hopefully most people.
Hopefully, but some of y'all are hustling, some of y'all are struggling. We're gonna pray for you. But when
some of y'all are really rich, so we're not gonna pray as much for you.
No. You get no prayer.
Enjoy that parents' money. You do it. Go
that must be
nice.
Nice. That must be so nice. I'm just like, you know, wait for the test.
Can I have some?
I know. Put our Venmos up here next time, Roxy. Don't put our Twitters. Like, put our Venmos. But yeah, I think if you are a person of color and you're writing from your voice, then inherently it's going to amplify your experiences, right? So it doesn't have to be every script like, oh, I wake up as a character and I'm Black and I have to figure out how to be Black today. It's not like that. But, you know, the main character, even though she's named Roxy, she's the Black girl in my script. And by putting her in this like interesting kind of absurd dark comedy situation, you're inherently watching how a person of color would like navigate it. And so every script is not going to be Selma, or maybe it will be for you depending on your voice and your writing. But it's you know, if you're writing from your experiences and they're authentic, then inherently you're amplifying your own voice. And hopefully the industry will catch up.
Oh my God, I don't think that should be a hopefully. It's gonna catch up. We have to start putting that energy out there. The industry will catch up, hopefully sooner than later.
Yes, and by that I mean we'll get ranked higher so that we can, you know, change the world.
Glenn Caesar said, "It's great to have you on live at the Roxy, Ritza. Thanks for joining today. Since you're a writer, in addition to being an actor, I'm wondering, are there any particular authors that you find really inspiring?" So I know JK Rowling, obviously.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I don't know if so I'll do author and then we'll do like screenwriter, because they may have meant that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The acting writing part. One of my favorite books.
Just for clarification for you guys, what Ritza just referred to. So author would not be the name of what you would call a screenwriter. So you wouldn't be like, who is the author of that script?
Right.
But yeah, still good question, Glenn.
Good. Yeah, we'll do both. One of my favorite books to this day, and here's the deal. I'll give you a very embarrassing secret of mine. I'm a very slow reader. And I think why is because I reread sentences over, especially if it's really well written. I could spend a whole day just rereading the same paragraph over and over. And so I'm not as well read in terms of like reading the hot NYT. I'm not as well read just because it will take me very long to get through a good book. But
I'm so with you.
And you know what? But it's a testament to the good writing, you know, like I savor it like a steak. I just savor it. One of my favorite books is to this day is The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy, Indian author, and it's just brilliant. It talks about the caste system and this family, and it's like a mixed up storylines and stuff about these twins growing up. And of course, there's so many parallels with that and our society and all of that. So it's a brilliant book. Check it out if you love like rich imagery. And I remember reading 100 pages in a night, which again, I don't do, but I just couldn't get more. And I don't really feel that way sometimes about books. And screenwriting, I would say I'm very lucky to be, you know, alive during this time, because there are so many amazing women, writer, actor, showrunners to look up to, like whether it's like the Tina Feys, the Mindy Kalings, the Issa Raes, the Lena Waithe. Like it is just an embarrassment of riches to have all these women after whom I plan and I hope to model my career. And I think some people are just writers and some people are just actors, and that's totally cool. But what I love is the ability to think about a story on my feet, like, you know, and be able to tell it in some way using my own voice and my body, but also being able to step away from a character as a writer and like create a world and stuff, which is obviously it's hard to do unless you're doing like a one-man show, but or one-woman show. So yeah, I think there's so many great like women creators. I just want to say creators because it's like there's so many things that they do and they produce. Like that's the goal. That's what I'm trying to get.
Glenn said, yeah, Roxy, I edited my question to say writer instead of author, but I was too late. It's okay.
You got this, Glenn.
Glenn, it happens. Right now, the amount of times that I'm misspeaking a day is so uncomfortable. Like, what are words? Who knows anymore?
Words and are gone.
So many great questions still coming in. Weston Ira said, we could all use some R&R. That's you and me. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, I certainly can. I love these.
So for people like Hartley Sawyer, who was unceremoniously removed from the Arrowverse for damaging tweets a couple of weeks after I mentioned it right here live at the Roxy, in case anybody missed that, don't worry, I'll fill you guys in a second. What do you think is the best path forward? There are obviously plenty of others who, like Hartley and James Gunn, messed up royally, but who also have or will, when exposed, show a willingness to improve since they messed up. So specifically with this Hartley Sawyer one, I will say, Ritza, if you haven't seen these tweets, there was like a series of dozens of tweets over the last decade that were like, BRB, I'm going to go home and beat my wife right now. If only I had a wife. Like, it was like, I mean, there was people were like, they were bad jokes. I don't know where the joke is, but they were racist. They were sexist. They were homophobic. He dropped the F word. Like it just, everything he was saying was like, oh God. Now it's weird because these resurfaced, and obviously anybody who's getting hired, he's one of the big actors on Flash, and anybody who's getting hired for a show that big, they've obviously done research on, and they were in, at least, I don't know if this has come out, but I feel like they were probably very aware of these, considering every publication said this resurfaced.
Yeah.
So it is interesting that now he's been fired. Also, we saw from Vanderpump Rules, 4 of the main cast members were fired because of what they said about faith. And also one of the main cast members from Teen Mom was fired yesterday because of racist comments that she had made. Yeah. So we are seeing this happen more and more every day. And yes, this reference is also James Gunn, who, of course, we saw lose his job, gain back his job, and whatnot. So, Ritza, just thoughts in general when the question is, what's the best path forward?
Yeah.
Who deserves to be fired? Who doesn't? What do you think about all of this? And what is that path forward? Obviously, I'm asking you to solve a problem that is impossible to solve fully, but yeah.
Equipped. You know, wow, it's such a good question. And I've had many talks this. So before HSM, which is my fancy way of saying hi, I was on Grownish, and we had many talks about, which I'm sure everyone does, about how do you separate the art from the artist, you know? And in history, have we given passes to certain artists that we loved so much, musicians, where even if they do despicable things,
we have.
You know what I mean? Hello. And you can name like most, like Elvis, David Bowie, like obviously R. Kelly and stuff, like Michael Jackson. How do we, right, do we separate them? Do we never enjoy their work again? Do we like cancel all of them, or are we able to separate those two things? I think right now we live in a different time because there's so many windows into our thoughts, right? Before we got on, Roxy teased me because my Twitter is like it's essentially a ghost account, so I can look at other things.
I still want you guys to go follow her anyway, though, because maybe if maybe if you follow her, then we'll get her to tweet more often. So,
oh my gosh, I'd be so scared. But yeah, I just feel like there's so many windows into our thoughts that we may not have had at different points. And unfortunately, I think we got to take them seriously. And yeah, it's. I get why it sucks to lose your job because of something you tweeted. I get why that's like a tough thing. But maybe now this actor has a lot of time to self-reflect and, read some books and talk to some people and educate themselves onto how to move forward and how to be a more well-rounded and progressive person. It's not a hard and fast rule to like fire anyone who's done something wrong, but we have to realize that we live in a world where most people in some way or form are get second chances, especially if they're white guys. Hate to say it. So, if they lay low for a while, if they issue a meaningful apology, if they put effort, money, and time into causes that for the people that were affected by their thoughts and really have an evolution, I feel like part of the American story is the idea of like the underdog. At a certain point, people will root for that person again if they go through the process, if they do the baptism by fire.
Do you mean like if they've done anything, or do you think that there's some people that people just won't root for again?
Well, of course, there are people that people should root for.
Yeah, okay.
I think there's a difference, and this could be totally wrong. People could disagree with it, and I don't know that I fully believe it, but I think there may be a difference between like the Weinsteins of the world who are actively physically attacking and hurting people, and people who've had off-color, at best, offensive at worst, hateful at worst, tweets. Because I have to also believe, I'm from the South, right? So I know a lot of people who are not as progressive and not in 2020, let's just say. They're back in 1864.
Hope they're enjoying their time.
Right. They love it and probably gonna get second wave COVID. But I think you have to also, it's weird because you want to demonize and cancel, and you also have to have hope that people can change and learn. Otherwise, I would be like completely pessimistically, upset about racism, for example. I have to go through my day to day and a day of the life of Ritz. A small part of me has to believe that humans are able to become better versions of themselves. And as much as I love and truly believe some people need to be canceled, in jail, fired, and all of the above, other people who maybe have not committed as hard offenses, or maybe have shown at least a willingness and desire and a committed, faithful work ethic to get better, there may be a space for them to re-enter their craft. So this person, I don't know who this person is. Maybe this is who he is and he just sucks. In which case, good for him for losing his job. But
his apology was so whack because what he said was, I owe people an apology. But he didn't say, I apologize or I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I mean, just breaking down the situation, just so you guys, because I like to, I pulled up so that we can all enjoy these beautiful tweets together, some of these things, because I don't really understand. For me, it's, why do you get to claim something's a joke? So like, what makes something a joke, right? So here's one of his tweets, says, as a lad, one of my favorite activities was kidnapping homeless women and cutting off their breasts.
That's not a joke.
So like, to me, what part of that did you think was funny? Because it's almost more concerning to me that you thought that was funny.
Oh, this guy is messed up. Like, right. I thought it was just like he used the F word in one of his tweets.
No. So this one's coming from 2014. He says, out at a dinner and just exposed myself as a racist again.
Yeah. So he sounds.
What's the joke though? Because he's like, these were jokes. Right. Another one. The only thing stopping me from doing mildly racist tweets is the knowledge that Al Sharpton would never stop complaining about me.
First of all, he should be so lucky. Al Sharpton doesn't even know his name. Okay.
If Al Sharpton ever complained about me, I would make that video the background of I love him so much. Like, come on.
He's an amazing person.
Enjoyed a secret boob viewing at an audition today.
What?
Date rape myself so I don't have to masturbate. If I had a wife, I would beat the hell out of her tonight. LOL. So I'm just confused on like.
That is.
Eli like that one?
No, that was crying. That was. Let me.
Eli did not like that one.
Crying.
Just I don't understand really why do people get to say
those aren't jokes? Those aren't jokes.
Where's the joke part?
Say it again.
Where's the joke part? There's no punchline. So
I saw recently online, and I hope I don't get the acronym wrong, this thing called DARVO, which is deny, accuse, and reverse victim oppressor. So that what he's doing is classic DARVO, which is like, these are just jokes, which is denying the reality of the thing you've done. And then probably in that, you're accusing other people of being too sensitive. And then you reverse the victim and the oppressor, which is, you, sir, those are oppressive things to say. But now he's going to be like, I lost my job over this. I'm the one that everyone should feel sorry about.
So here was his apology statement. He said, I'm not here to make excuses. Regardless of the intention, my words matter and they carry profound consequences, and mine can and have caused pain and embarrassment, along with feelings I can only imagine, to supporters and fans, my castmates, the crew, my colleagues and friends. I owe them all an apology, and I owe each of you an apology. Thank you for holding me accountable.
His publicist wrote that. Don't even worry.
His publicist wrote that. It doesn't say he apologizes. He doesn't say sorry. Yeah. He doesn't say that is so. What I said was so fucked up. Who the fuck would say that?
Yeah, he claimed that you were on meth at the time. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like do something. Don't. But he never.
Like, it's just, to me, it's so confusing. And that's just one person. But I just in general, my biggest thing is like everybody claiming that they're making jokes.
And they're not even funny, guys. Like, what? None of this. And I'm a comedy writer, so in comedy rooms, sometimes, like as you're pitching out stories and figuring things out, you will say things that are offensive because sometimes they're slightly funny, and hopefully it'll help you like mine out a story that you can use to talk about an issue. But none of what was said was funny, insightful, thought-provoking in any way. This guy is clearly the furthest thing from a professional comedian. He seems like just a complete asshole, start to finish. And
there's no setup for the joke. Again, like it's not like knock knock who's there or like a punchline. Like here's the setup and here's the joke. These are one lines of like, I wish I had a wife to beat LOL. So like the joke is LOL.
That's not. No.
Is that what makes it a joke?
No.
Laughing about the fact that you would want to beat your wife? Because like
also like how many followers does this man have? Like how many people followed this guy?
A lot.
That says something too.
I know.
Too. It's never, and that's one of the things that especially the events of this past week show is that it is certain people, especially people of influence, but it's not just one person. There's a whole drag of society, I'll call them, that will follow this guy and probably did laugh at some of those things and probably do think they're funny jokes, even though you and I clearly don't. And I hope that they get better and open their minds, but I also hope that I never run into them. And
same. D-Train said in the streamlabs.com/RoxyStryer, interesting fact, today is Hattie McDaniel's birthday, who was the first African-American to win an Oscar for Gone with the Wind back in 1939.
Yeah.
Is that how you say it? Hattie?
Hattie. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's how. Wow. I wonder what birthday this would.
Oh, I'm bad at math, so I'm not even. But
you guys let us know. But that's amazing, and also it's crazy how quick progress is sometimes, and then how slow it is. Because like the first African American to win an Oscar was in 1939, and we're still doing Oscars so white.
I honestly, and I know the person asked a question about it, like how to amplify diverse voices. Hollywood has been very complicit in white supremacy in many real ways for a very long time. And I think that's one of the reasons why I decided to roll my dice and take a chance at this career of storytelling, is that I feel like stories, fables, parables, whatever you want to call them, have so much power in shaping the minds and hearts of people. So the fact that like in 1915, I think like Birth of a Nation was the most popular film among whites, and they just loved it and thought it was so true. Like the president, I think Woodrow Wilson said, it was just the shame is that it's so true. Like movies and the television and all that have so much power, and when wielded in a negative way or irresponsible way, as they often are, it's you get some surprising stuff like that. So like, happy birthday, Hattie, and thank you for the legacy you left. And I'm sorry that you had to play a maid to get the recognition that you deserved. But hopefully, after all of this protest, like Hollywood, even as progressive as it is in ways and claims to be, hopefully they'll listen too and be like, oh wait, we can help change the narrative because we literally write the narrative.
Do you think that this right now, what's happening, is going to change Hollywood?
I believe that they have no choice because ultimately it's a business, right? So if they see all these people out here on the streets, they're going to, I mean, the fact that you saw like Genji Cohen or someone is doing like quarantine stories, like a show about quarantine. People, storytellers, it's our job to respond to the times. I mean, when Trump got elected, there was a slew of shows that were more aiming at, let's say, middle America, and I would say flyover states, and I'm from Florida. But I remember, and I worked at Fox as a development assistant in drama, and you saw a lot of stories that were aiming for people who watch NASCAR, people who love Roseanne and stuff like that. But now that the tides have so vocally turned in an amazing way, I think Hollywood has no choice but to be dragged into the 21st century.
I agree. And I think that it sucks that they're not doing it because they want to and more because they have no choice. But it's cool that we've given them, and I mean we as in everybody who's protesting right now and fighting, that there is no choice.
And that's the beauty of protest. We have no choice. Now you got to listen.
Coming into the Streamlabs. Okay, I don't know whether this is repeating from Glenn, but Glenn said, I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of this conversation. This is coming from earlier. Oh no, it's different. Ritza, what's your favorite book to reread or listen to? A little different than favorite author. Favorite book to reread or listen to?
Read. I don't know. Like, I'll skim like chapters of books that I like, but I don't know that I've sat and reread certain books that I like. I'm trying to think because there are a lot of books that I've connected with. Like, I love. I've always been drawn to The Great Gatsby story, and so I have reread chapters of that. And I even once, it was in London, I went to a play that was just so you'll know I travel. Just so you'll know, it was a study abroad. And I was
humble brag. It's fine.
I was a college kid and I was studying abroad. So let's take it down a notch, Ritz. No fly points were used. But we got to see a play, Gats, which was literally all of Great Gatsby read aloud. It was 8 hours, and there was a bathroom break and something. And these people in an office space setting all of a sudden just reenacted this whole thing. And I thought that was such a cool fusion of like,
that is cool,
literature and storytelling and stuff. But Roxy, can I tell you this like really weird thing?
100%.
Okay, so David, my husband, and then we'll dovetail back. David, my husband, his favorite book is Count of Monte Cristo. His favorite movie is Shawshank Redemption, and his favorite musical, he's a theater teacher, is Parade. And he sussed out for himself that the things that he happens to like tend to have the theme of people being wrongly imprisoned trying to fight their way out. Always do. Great. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I don't know if that's like a central theme for the things that I like. And then in the HSM writers room, we were just going around talking about like our favorite things. And it turns out I totally do. And so Gatsby kind of fits in there, oddly enough. Succession is one of my favorite new shows. The Social Network is one of my favorite movies of all time. And Willy Wonka or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, with the Gene Wilder version, is one of my.
What the fuck is the through line? What is it?
Right, exactly. So I say all that. And then Carrie Rosen, she's a producer level writer on the show. She sat next to me and she was like, that's really weird. You seem to like things that are about people, like a guy getting super rich, then completely losing his mind. Like every movie, like Social Network, a guy gets rich and kind of goes crazy. Like Chocolate and Chocolate Factory.
Succession for sure. Yeah.
Lose your shit. And so I think part of me like wants to get really rich so I can lose my mind. And then
what? No, that's the worst thing to take from that. You want to get really rich so you don't lose your mind and you can make fun of all these stupid ass men who took advantage of the fact that they got really rich and lost their mind.
that doesn't count. That's fine. Like, I will already do that, but I've been telling people for years that my dream is that like I get to be so successful that I can walk around my office in nothing but like a braless t-shirt and an adult diaper and a bottle of booze, and people just have to like turn a blind eye and be like, oh, that's just Ritza being Ritza, because I want that like white guy privilege where you can just be like, that's just Ritza being Ritz. And
can you hook it up when you're there? Can you help me out? Because I want to wear a diaper and no bra too.
I know.
I need that.
So overrated, but yeah, I think I'm already a little cuckoo. You kind of have to be a writer, so the lost the mind part is done. But I just need to get really, really successful. So
wait, speaking of being a writer, because we do have a couple more questions in here, and I will get to you guys, but I do want to ask, what is going on, as you call HSM? I'm so hip. That's a look at me. So, what can you tell us? What's going on right now? Where are you at currently? What are you working on for that?
Yeah, so I was brought on for season 2. And I was a freshman in high school when the original High School Musical, like TV movie DCOM, as we call it, came out. And it's just, and it was something that it's so farcically and campy and fun and beautiful. And I was always very nostalgic about it. And so getting to work on the show 10 years later, it honestly has been a dream come true. And we had an amazing boss, Tim Federley, who created it. And one of the tasks that he charged us with was to like go deeper with these characters and tell more interesting layered stories, while also just having fun. It's like a total feel-good comfort food show. It's like your favorite candy, just in show form. And so that was an interesting balance to try to strike. It's like how to, keep it real, how to talk about, yes, Mason Allen. Yes, you were 5. You're so young.
Yeah.
What? So, yeah, it's like it's a really fun world to populate, and I think there's something so free and beautiful and embracing about the theater and about what it could be, which is giving kids a space to like emote and express themselves and to dive deep and to think about life and themselves. And so, getting to work in that world, it was so fun. So yeah, we were working on season 2. We were filming. Of course, everything for everyone has shut down with the COVID, but here's to hoping that sooner than later, when it's safe, of course, they can resume filming so that season 2 can come out and you guys can all enjoy it. And I hope you guys love it, because I certainly had a blast working on it.
Are you guys checking in? Like, are they checking in, being like, okay, here's the dates that we're thinking, or right now is it kind of like just feeling things out and waiting until we hear more from the union?
Yeah, I think it's more feeling things out right now. I think, of course, as a company, I'm sure Disney Plus and every production company wants to like prioritize safety, because as you can imagine, there are upwards of 100 plus people on set at any given moment. Okay, thanks, sweets. There's so many people on set, and it's oftentimes they're closed spaces because you control the lighting and sound stage. So if done incorrectly, it could be detrimental, and you don't want to do that to the amazing crew or the amazing cast or the dancers. Like, you don't want to do that to these kids. So hopefully it'll resume soon, and I'm so excited for you guys to watch the second season. I'm so excited.
I'm glad that you guys are equally as excited in here. Moving to Gingerbread, who said, the Ritza and Roxy show. I love it. Yes. Ritza, I love your name. Have you ever been a stand-up comic? You give off that vibe, and surprise. Oh, this is a question Gingerbread always has. What's your zodiac sign? So multiple questions. Have you ever been a stand-up comic? And what's your zodiac sign?
I got you. First of all, great questions, and I crave gingerbread now. But yeah,
I love ginger. Oh,
isn't it so good? Like,
so good, too good.
Great name. I had been told, it's funny, back to my friend Denise, I'd been told so many times, like, oh, you should try stand up. You should try stand up. And so I remember telling this guy, I was like, okay, one more person tells me, I gotta try stand up. And then I was at lunch with my friend Denise. This is unfortunately all the way back in 2017. And she was like, you know what, Ritza, you gotta try stand up. And I was like, okay, that's what it is. And David, I think, has still not forgiven me since, but he was working late at a play at his school. And I'm sorry, you can bring him to me. I think the baby's hungry. I know. I'm such a good mom, Roxy.
Yeah, but you asked me if you could hold Eli for the stream. I said yes. It's the most casual stream. Bring David over. Bring your babe. Like, do anything you need. Whatever you need. Yeah, anything. Yeah.
So I did it once, and it was an open mic, and it was so fun. I was so nervous, and I remember like writing sticky notes. Aw, hi.
Oh my
Oh,
God, we are in for such a treat. I am losing it. My babe. Oh my God.
hungry. Okay, I'm gonna angle up so I can feed him. But yes, so I did try it and I loved it.
Multitasking mom for the win.
Oh my god,
Like
so sweet.
unbelievable. Do you guys see what it takes? Like anytime that nobody understands what it takes, like this is what it takes.
Yeah.
Insane.
Mother's Day should be a month long, y'all. Father's Day can get a day, but moms should get like a month. Bless them. But yeah, so yes, I tried it once and I loved it. I remember writing jokes on a sticky note, like on the way, like shaky hand and stuff. One thing, oh, so sweet. One thing that I admire comics so much because it takes such huge balls to get up there and
It's
like
so scary.
such huge balls. And y'all, I'm a coward. I hide behind scripts. Like if you don't like a joke, you probably not gonna remember the name of who wrote the script. That's fine. But also
just wait until you're in front of the camera saying your own words, girl. Then they're gonna come for you.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. Oh my God. But yeah, no, I have such respect for comics and I love watching stand-up. I think laughter to me sounds like music, and I think that's why I work in comedy because I just love laughter. I like making people laugh. Thanks, Glenn. I love I love making people feel happy, and so the fact that stand-ups can do that and get the immediate response to the laughter is so cool. Because like with TV writing, for my episode of Grownish, for example, I wrote that. I remember it was in August, and it didn't air till February of the next year, and so there is a
so long.
It's so long. But yeah, and I'm a Scorpio.
Do you feel like a Scorpio? Whatever that means.
I do. And I'm not even like a big birth chart person, even though I wish I knew more about it because I think some of it's like kind of fun. But they say that Scorpio people tend to be like, this is going to sound stupid, but like charismatic or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a people person. I like people.
Yeah, you are.
So if nothing else, and oh, you know what's crazy is that like I know there are people of all sorts of signs, but I've met like a ton of Scorpios out here in the industry. Like most of the people that I meet are they're like, oh, I'm a Scorpio, and I'm like, yes, you are. I'm also a Slytherin, if that helps. So I got both of those going. Mm-hmm.
I have to be real though. I think you have some Slytherin in you, but like, how are you not a Gryffindor? Come on.
Oh no, Roxy, can I tell you? Okay, I don't know how much time. Can I tell you like a 30-second?
You can. I'm here with you. You tell me. Go.
Okay. So we live in a condo, and there is a like gates that go out to the street if you walk on it, and they have
fancy.
Oh, yeah, we live in a condo, girl. And there's like the huge key that you need to get into the gate. And we go to, because I was going to have the baby and my mom was coming in town and I wanted her to be able to have this key so that she can go on walks and stuff with the kid. And we asked the people like, hey, can we just like make us another key or can we just make a copy of it? And they were like, no, it's per the rules. Every household only gets 2 keys or whatever. And we were like, okay. And then in this moment, I was like, I think this is the difference between all 4 houses. And this could be totally stupid.
Yeah. Okay. Give it to me.
But I feel like a Hufflepuff would have been like, oh, that's a bummer. But you know what? There's so many other things we can do. We don't even need that key. We're good. We're going to have fun.
Yeah.
I feel like a Ravenclaw
would make a key.
No, a Ravenclaw would have been like rules are rules. That's what David was like. He was like, well,
no, a Ravenclaw would have been like, I'm pretty sure I can figure out how to make this with my mind. Like, I'll just tech. I'll like tech it. Instead, we'll make it digital. This is an antiquated system anyway.
I'll figure it out. No, David was very much, and
that's true. They are rules, but also like they're smart enough if they needed to.
If they needed to be, they would jimmy like a lock or something. They would like make a hairpin or something. I feel like a Gryffindor would have like rallied all the HOA and went door to door and got a petition and pissed some people off, but like would have valiantly fought and got everybody keys and like everyone's like, yeah, you did it. But I think a Slytherin like myself literally just went to the Ralphs and was like, girl, I'm about to make me a copy right here. Don't even worry about it. And
100%.
And just oops. So I think that is the difference, and that's when I was like, oh yeah, like I'm just not gonna tell anyone. My mom's gonna get a key. I'm
Can
sorry.
we even acknowledge for a second how much JK Rowling talk we've had on this show without even meaning to today?
Hell, one of these days, let us be successful that people without meaning to spend a half an hour discussing us, and hopefully not for bad tweets.
Yeah. Dear Mir Taranta, we already talked about the JK Rowling comments, but you see, that's a joke.
Yeah.
Because you wrote pun intended, and I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And, even if that doesn't stand the test of time, it's very clear
Clever.
Trying to make a joke.
Yes. And what they did great with their joke is that they managed to not really offend.
It's not
a play on words.
Mhm.
Like they're not saying, by the way, trans people aren't great. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's a way to make a joke that's okay. Trust me, there are ways to make jokes. They did it. They know it.
Another question coming in that I want to ask from Glenn. Glenn likes to know food-related questions. So he has 4 food-related questions he likes to get our guests to answer. The first one being, but he made it a little different for you. He said, "Do you have a favorite Haitian food or meal?"
Yes, of course I do. Glenn, thank
Is that
you.
your favorite question?
Thank you. You know what's crazy is that because it's like, what's your favorite food? I immediately go to my mom's cooking anyway.
Really?
So food related, I was thinking Haitian food. So the fact that Glenn already beat us there, Glenn may be clear.
Go Glenn.
I
love Glenn. Glenn's the best.
You go, Gun Coco. But yeah, so it's called poulet en sauce, which is like the chicken stew kind of thing. And my mom.
Can you say it slower for my ignorant ears?
No, it's okay. Poulet en sauce. So
poulet en sauce. It sounds very French.
Yeah,
right?
It's Haitian. Yeah, Creole is French is a huge part of the Creole language in Haiti, and my parents also speak French.
Poulet en sauce.
Poulet en sauce. Yeah, some chicken and some delicious a tomato-based, heavily spiced sauce, and then over usually a bed of rice. Oh, Glenn, yes, Haitian, yes, okay.
Obsessed with you, Glenn.
Oh my
always.
God, you just keep getting better.
That's what I've been saying to Glenn for a year. He gets better every day. He is such a ride or die homie too.
I love it. And Glenn, I also too. Yes. Glenn, you eat griot. It's called griot, Griot, and it's this flash fried seasoned pork, and it's so delicious. And I usually like it with I love this black rice. It's riz jonjon, which is a rice that's dyed black with mushrooms, and sweet fried plantains, which I call banane mûre. And that's that's the meal if I'm on death row. Hopefully not. That's please, please God, give me that meal.
See, that's a joke. She made a joke. Okay, so the next part is favorite breakfast food.
You know what? Ironically, I'm as much as I love an international meal, I'm American when it comes to breakfast. I love a good scrambled eggs and bacon. I am a child. I will order scrambled eggs at any restaurant.
I will do the exact same thing. I could eat scrambled eggs and bacon and a side of toast or something.
Ooh, side of toast.
Forever.
Brilliant. I know some people like a more sweet breakfast, like a pancake or a crepe or a waffle, and there are times for that, But most of the time,
when you want dessert.
Yeah, when you want dessert. Hello. Most of the time, I like to start off my day with protein and healthy fats, and I'm trying to be keto, so that's also
no way.
Yeah, because I'm trying to get this baby weight off, girl. It's
where
we're at. You are so sweet. Notice how this
you have no weight on you.
You are so sweet, but I can still eat bacon and eggs.
And breastfeeding burns all the calories, so you got to keep.
That's what they say. That's what here's to hoping, girl.
Okay, the next part is favorite dessert.
It depends. I like ice cream, on a especially now it's getting hot out. I'll do. We live close to this place called Playa Provisions, and they have this delicious Earl Grey ice cream, which is so awesome and small batch and fun. Otherwise,
things like that, like pistachio or Earl Grey in ice cream, they're so fancy and yummy.
Yeah, I know. It makes you feel like you're rich, even though you're
rich. My Earl Grey ice cream, it's fine.
It's okay. I don't need tea and ice cream separate. I have them all at once.
Totally delicious.
Yeah. So I feel like maybe it's because it's hot right now. My mind is just going to ice cream.
I know I have to let you go soon, but there's a couple more questions. Are you okay for a couple more?
Of course. Elijah's eating. He's good. Oh my God. Yeah.
The last part of the food questions were guilty pleasure food or late night snack.
Ooh, I am a sucker for a good French fry. You give me a good thing of French fries, girl, I will tear it up. And late night snack. I like a good cookie. I like a soft like chocolate chip or a sugar cookie. And if I'm like super like awake and able to make myself something, I think there's nothing wrong with a good grilled cheese. Nothing wrong with it.
Here's an awkward question.
Do it.
Broken Blue, it's awkward for me, not you. Broken Blue says, Ritza is definitely Superwoman. Hope she can come back soon. Agreed. Roxy, since you're afraid of children, LOL, if you were asked to be a godmother for a friend's child, would you decline? I've been asked and I'm terrified. Oh my God. You should have seen me the first time I was holding Eli, just the cutest babe on the planet. I was so nervous. I'm just like not
So great.
good. I'm just like so not
You're
good with
so great.
kids.
Can I tell you a secret though? Elijah's diaper was the first one I've ever changed in my entire life. I never babysat. I never did any of that stuff. I
Yeah,
didn't
but
have.
you are like you're just like born good. Like you
Yeah,
are great at the things you're great at and you just take care of people and are so amazing. Like
sweet.
I don't have that like motherly instinct in me. I'll be like, dude, just go chill for a second. Like I can't just go
Right.
for a second. Like I
Oh,
don't
I
have
do
that
that
like
all the time, girl. That's what wine is for. I just, yeah, I think things kick in, right? Like maternal instincts kick in because honestly, if you ask like high school Roxy, like, hey Roxy, I need you to host like 5 radio shows, boom, boom. She would be like, you know, like anybody who hasn't done anything for the first time is going to be intimidated by it. I actually think Roxy that you would be an amazing mother. I have seen Roxy with my baby multiple times, and first of all, he just lights
but
up.
I'm Aunt Roxy. I'm good at being an aunt. I'm not being a mom where like if they like need something, I'd be like, all right, like I can't actually deal with that right now because I'm doing me.
Right,
So just
right.
go be self-sufficient, you baby.
Go do my taxes while you're at it. I feel like
Thank you.
if you have a supportive partner, or even if you don't have like great help, whether it's daycare or nanny, you'd be surprised how much you can still find you time. Especially when there's like the world is open again and I'm a daycare lady back. But yeah, like it's hard, but there are ways to do both. And okay, well, you don't have to be patient to be a mom.
Patient is not my strong suit. You are right, Weston.
I'm impatient with all get out. I don't care.
They have seen me lose my mind in the last couple of weeks as like it is this is the daily argument I have is like me any time that any of my black friends ask me to be patient with racist people, I feel so bad because I'm like, I don't know how you guys do this. I am ready to like I have zero patience.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to you. I
Right.
want you to go crawl back into the hole that you came from.
In the
So
dread. Yep.
they've been saying a lot in the last couple weeks that patience is not my strong suit because I
Right.
have to be talked off a ledge, which is like not even my ledge to be talked off of, but I'm so annoyed and have no patience.
I
None.
appreciate that though. I appreciate it. And I honestly, I feel like Rox, there's a reason because we're about around the same age. And I feel like there's a reason why we are able to, with a lot of hard work, as you say, do some of the stuff that we like. Obviously, we want to do other things and get better and get bigger at who we are in our careers. But I feel like there is a impatience, yes, and it can go awry, but I think there's a virtue in not wanting to wait, you know, like I know a lot of people who are like, I'm just, and no problem, good for you, but like, I'm just going to party in my 20s and then in my 30s, I'll get real about my career. I've heard that many a time.
I heard it too.
You know, and
Good luck.
I get that impulse, but y'all, if you guys can party for a decade, also like, you party and then like show up to work on Monday and like have a cool do what you want in love and then you can party to celebrate your achievements too. So like
hard now, easy later, easy now, hard later.
Cry now, cry later.
Always been that. Yep.
Cry now, cry later, boo boo. That's it. That's all. That's only your two choices and stuff. So like, I think I get why, you know, I'm impatient all hell. So and it has certainly gotten me in trouble, but I think there is a virtue in hustle and when it's so easy to just like kind of slack off.
Glenn had another. What would you say?
And I do slack off too. Don't worry.
No, you don't. That's not true. Glenn has another comment. He said, Roxy and Ritza, this was a great show today. Thank you both for having the conversation with us. 2 thumbs up. And yes, Roxy, Ritza's also on the list of guests you should have back on Live at the Roxy whenever she can join you. She's a rock star for sure. Completely agree. She is always welcome here. And both to you and your amazing husband, who is like just the best rock on the planet. I adore you both with my whole soul. and I'm so lucky that you joined me today.
Thank
And
you.
I'm expecting an invite to the next protest that is family friendly, as we are family. So I will be there. Oh
Yes,
my
we are
God.
family, and you absolutely
Look
should
at
be.
him, his hand,
Yeah,
Elijah.
he's getting tired. He, cried through nap time as I was telling you, so he's a little zonked.
We
But
will let you go, babe, because
oh,
it
so
is
much.
time to let you go anyway. But thank you guys all for watching and tuning in today.
This
I'm
was so
sound that
fun.
talk about aging myself, tuning in. Like who
Dialing in,
tunes in?
dial the
That's yeah.
number.
Thank you guys so much for dialing in, for using your broadband or whatever. What is
I
it
know.
called?
So
Your
those who want
dial
to use
up.
the internet so your mom can use the phone again. Okay, get off that freaking dial-ups.
That was the worst.
I hated that was
And I was like, "Oh, can't you guys get another phone line?"
yeah, and your parents would be like, hell no,
Nope.
get
No,
off
you
game
bratty bitch.
computer.
You get
Yeah,
another phone line. Where's
yeah,
your
I
job?
wait to yell at my kid like that and be like, get off my phone line. I can't wait.
Yeah, but then your kid can just come to Auntie Roxy's and I'm gonna spoil the crap out of him. Sorry in advance.
He's already in love. He's like, where's Auntie Riley? Like your voice has been so soothing to him. That's
I
why he's
love
like,
him.
"Oh."
Well, hopefully I'll see you very soon, whether it is digitally or otherwise. I love you a lot. And to you guys at home, so much love to you. Please go follow Ritza and everything that she is doing. We're gonna force her to start using her Twitter, because we're gonna just shower with so much love over there, and on her Instagram, and of course her shows. Anything Ritza else that you're working on that they can support right now? Any projects that they can go over, follow, watch, look out for?
That's so cool. I have a lot of stuff in the works that's still in kind of like script phase, but I will absolutely let you know. Slash, I may invite myself back, and next time I have something to promote. But just
Always invited.
for everyone, just keep practicing self-care and fight and protest, but also take care of yourselves because we're in this for the long haul.
That is so true. That is so true. And I'll see, because we are in this for the long haul. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 1 p.m. live at the Roxy.
Roxy, you're such a star. I love it. I'm so happy for you. I love you. Look at you.
Like, when have I? No, there's no star. The star is gone. Nothing's shining.
Yeah, I stink.
All right. On that note, bye, friends.